The timing of me making this episode is funny because I just got home from Paris, like the trip of a lifetime, with YSL Beauty. They flew me out. And I'm over here to talk about nothing ever being enough. Hi, friends. So, this week, like I said, we're talking about nothing ever being enough. And I'm going to talk about this from the aspect of like when you are so self aware and you're aware of things at a deeper level than most people. You hit this point of becoming very numb because everything in life becomes very see-through. It's transparent. Like you can see everything unfolding. You see why people behave certain ways. You see why they're doing what they're doing, even though they don't see it. Like you can predict a lot of things with people, but then also experiences. You realize a lot of experiences are very empty. And this really hits you when you achieve something. So you understand by achieving certain things, they're all empty. Like there actually isn't what you thought in it. It's very numb and kind of like, this is it. And this is something I really wanted to talk about because this is something that bothered me for so long. I'm going to tell you how I flipped it and kind of got rid of that numb feeling and start feeling more excited by life again. Because when you are really aware, you feel like you kind of are like cursed in a way. I always say awareness is a curse. But it's the truth. Like, it's just this cross to bear once you have it. And it's like, you'll feel very isolated. Like you're in a glass box. You can see out and no one can see in. It's like, you see the complexity of everything. You see why things are the way that they are. You can like play with tape forward and understand things at a level people can't. And it isolates you. It makes you feel so alone with the perspectives you can hold. It's like you're climbing a mountain and everybody can only get up to like the second, like, point, and you can get up to like the 5th, 6th, 10th, and you're up there like like what now? Because like you're by yourself and you can access this, but it's like you just feel very isolated. And this is where I feel like a lot of people snap, and this is where you like will turn to coping mechanisms because the awareness is no longer going to save you. Because with self-awareness and awareness and understanding of situations that you're going through, they're typically painful when you start digging for awareness, when you start trying to understand things and understand yourself and things you've experienced. It's typically to get out of the pain you're in or to try and understand the pain you're in so it will go away. Put in simpler terms, understanding things to the level that we understand them was our coping mechanism to get out of pain. And it was your mode of gaining awareness, like understanding every aspect and perspective of a situation happening was your ticket to gaining awareness. And it's like, once you've done that for so long, it's like, what's the point, you know? But there is so much more awareness to be found. It's just not in the way that you're used to doing it. So like when you're understanding everything to get out of your pain, if you apply this tactic to gaining awareness to happy moments and achievements, it's going to destroy them. It's going to make them unhappy. It's going to make you feel unfulfilled. It's going to make you feel like you kind of lose your will to live because you're just very numb. Everything feels predictable. Everything feels like bullshit. You see through everything and it's like, girl, what's the point? And like I said, is this it? Like that's the point I hit a while ago with every achievement I would have. I would be like, is this it? And it's like the more I would achieve, the more heartbreak I would experience with every achievement. Like I would just be so like, y'all joking, right? Because like this is it. This is how it feels to have this experience. But that right there is the issue of why you don't feel happy when you're achieving things and experiencing certain things in life. You're going into it with the wrong perspective. You go into it and you feel a certain emotion because of the perspective you're holding about the situation and you feel negative about it. So you go in trying to understand the negative feelings of this positive thing that just happened instead of going into the positive feelings of what you're now accessing. So when you hit this higher level of consciousness, everything you experience, you got two roads you can go down. You can go into understanding it and trying to gain perspective, like how you used to with your pain, and trying to like get a better understanding of it and like, why does it feel numb? Why does it feel like this? Or you can go into the perspective of experiencing what's just happened and feeling all the emotions that are in it, like all the positive things. Like you might understand something is empty, but it can still be exciting for a minute. It doesn't have to be deeper than that. You're allowed to just be happy and experience life. That's the most spiritual thing you can do, is get grounded in the physical and get grounded in the experiences you're having. Everybody's always talking about meditate and spirituality, and everyone's trying to like transcend the physical. The most spiritual thing you can do is get in the motherfucking physical, because why is your spirit here? Why is your soul here? Why did it choose to come into this experience as a human? To experience being human. So all these dickheads running around trying to like escape the physical, girl, your soul's annoyed with you. So like I was saying, the awareness that you've gained from the pain you've been through took intention, and you had to seek out this awareness and understanding. But that's no longer the case once you've done it. Like when you're moving forward, for you to gain more awareness, you don't have to try anymore. You're already aware enough where this becomes passive. So you were intentionally trying to gain awareness from your pain, but the awareness you need now comes passively from experiencing all the things you want to experience. And this is the only way to get certain knowledge. Like you can't just look at a situation and assume that you know everything about it and assume that you understand it. You don't get to stand outside of something and claim that you have the perspective of being in it and having the understanding of what it's like to be in that. You don't get to stand outside and claim that. You ain't God, bitch. You ain't that aware. The step now is to go experience everything that you can, because when you go experience these new things, the perspective you hold inside of that is completely different. And the awareness you're gonna gain is not intentional anymore. It's not active. You're not having to dissect and look at things and like dig all these things up for you to gain new awareness and like dig up all these perspectives. They just come as you experience things. Like I said, you're standing outside the experience, and when you're intentionally trying to gain awareness of it, it's annoying, it's draining, it's not fun. It sucks the good out of the experience, versus if you just say, fuck it, and walk into the experience and go have it, you're gonna be in a new standpoint and a new perspective inside that's passive. You don't have to try to access that. That's what I'm saying. It's like this big burden of once you're at this certain awareness level, it's like, what now? That's what now. You have this understanding, and now you need to go experience life. Go experience getting all the things you fucking want. Everything's gonna come passive. It's like the weirdest thing, it will rob you. Like what saved you when you were in pain will rob you of your happy times. Like this whole perspective of like forcing awareness. Do that when you're in pain, babe, but just go about life. Just go live life and let shit unfold. Don't assume you know it all, and just go have fun. This is what I wish someone would have told me. Cause like this is not common. And I don't think this video is gonna like blow up or anything, cause I'm talking to people who are like on our level. But my whole point with that was like, everything you experience can be heartbreaking, or it can be a chance for happiness. It's just about how you're gonna go into it. Like, are you gonna just go into it, or are you gonna sit back and dissect it and tell yourself it's useless and like tell yourself you already know what's in it? Oh, I already know it's empty, so I'm not gonna go try and achieve this thing. That's not the point of life. That's where you fall into a pit of depression, is convincing yourself everything is futile and nothing is worth the shit. You don't know because you haven't achieved it yet. Yes, you might have experienced a lot of things and achieved a lot of things, but this is what helped me a long time ago. Stop feeling so heartbroken with everything and feeling like being aware was such a cross to bear. Why did that rhyme? But truly, this is what helped me, was like, stop analyzing so much shit and just go into the experience to go see what you're going to experience. Like, just go into it. The awareness you need, like I said, the new awareness, the next step for you is inside all of the experiences. Stop trying to dig that shit out. It's just going to passively happen. You're aware enough. You don't have to fight for it anymore. Things are just going to trickle into your brain. That's what this level is like. And I'm not saying you're never going to have to reflect again. Like, you're going to have to reflect. Anytime there's a painful situation, absolutely reflect and like be in it. But also check yourself. And I got a couple of examples I'm going to give you around this so it makes more sense. But when you achieve something, you are now experiencing life from a new point of perspective. You now hold a different perspective of life. You could say it's a whole new life. in a way. And this don't even have to be achievements. This could just be having something or losing something that you didn't want anymore, or losing something you did want. Like, there's a new point of perspective you're holding. It's like when I hit 300,000 followers on TikTok a few years ago. I remember I was so excited because I finally felt like 300,000 was like a big number. I was like, oh my God, like I have a shit ton of followers now. Now I have like 3.9 million, I'm almost at 4 million. But when I hit my first like big milestone, I thought like 100K was cute, but like 300K, I was like, work, bitch. But I literally remember like watching my phone, I refreshed it and it said 300K. And the sense of doom and like heartbreak I felt when I saw that and nothing in my life changed fucked me up. Like, that was hard to face and deal with. And that's where I'm saying things will start to feel empty. Like, the more you achieve, the more things that happen that you didn't think could happen, they're happening to both of us. But the more that happens, the more you're going to try and like tell yourself, oh, I remember how 300K felt, so I know how 3 million will feel. No, you don't. But the biggest thing with me hitting 300,000 followers, like, I wish I could just go back and tell myself, don't judge the experience. Don't look at this like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is how this feels. Cause I genuinely felt like heartbroken. Like, I cried my fucking eyes out. And I was like, back to the point of like, if I don't wake up, I ain't mad about it. Like, what the fuck is going on? I'm joking, but I'm dead serious. Like, y'all know the heartbreak I'm talking about, of like when you thought something would be a certain way and it's not. And it's like facing that reality of like, well, but that's what I was saying. If I can go back and tell myself, I'd say, stop judging the experience. Stop wishing it were different. Like, stop having expectations really with like what things are going to be like and feel like. Just go into the goddamn thing and experience it. And when I hit 300,000 followers, I wish I could have went back and just went into it for what it was. Like, now every time I hit a milestone with any of my social media or I make a certain amount of money, I sit in the experience and I enjoy it, because I'm not like, it was supposed to feel like this, it was supposed to be like that. It's actually empty, wah, and like dealing with the whole heartbreak. Girl, get real. I now go into experiences for what they are. And I get excited because I'm achieving certain things. So my point of perspective that I'm in is a new perspective. So I always look at it like, okay, now that I have this thing or I'm doing this thing, what is this life like now? Because I now hold this perspective. I know what it's like to achieve this thing or go this place or do something. Like, you now have that new point of perspective to hold. Now go explore that life. Don't take all the shit from everything before and all the lower levels of like everything you've done before accessing this and try and throw that on top of it. Just go into it like it's a whole new life and experience, okay, what is life like from the perspective of this mountaintop? Because you just went up to a different one. So now what's this life like? Looking around, what's this one like? That's my new perspective on life. And that's where I'm saying the new awareness just like sinks in. It just like drops into your head when you take on that perspective. Instead of getting hung up in the bullshit and the bad and like the disappointment and the heartbreak of it, understand you got, like I said, 2 roads to go down. You can go into the sad or you can go into the good. Pick one. And going into the sad one wrecked me for a long time. And I have to like consciously choose to like, okay, new perspective, new mountaintop. Now let's look at the view. What's different? What can I see now? What can I look back down and see that I didn't see before from my old perspective? It's an exciting thing. And that's where I get my excitement from now. It's like, to hit a certain amount of followers is not really that exciting. To hit a certain amount of money, that's exciting. It's yeah, but like not long. Like, it's like, okay, cute. I've like accessed a lot of things, but I get excited from the new perspective I have on the world and the new things I can perceive and what I'm now aware of and like the new knowledge I can access and the new experiences I can access because I'm now at this new point of perspective. That is where my excitement comes from, because just the achievement is not exciting. But when you position it in your head like that and let your awareness work for you, and like I said, just let it flow in because you're experiencing life, fun as hell. Like, that's where my happiness has come from. And I've realized this multiple times, and it's like something you're gonna have to do repeatedly. Like when I was just in Paris, this is kind of what triggered this episode to come out, is I was in Paris and I kind of fell into that negative headspace of like, for what? Like, this is gonna sound so shitty. But like, I just had like the most exciting thing happen. YSL Beauty, the brand, flew me to Paris on a business class flight, paid for my hotel, put me up. I was with a whole bunch of other influencers that were cool as hell. Like, I was going to these crazy restaurants, going to these crazy events, doing all these things in Paris. And that little like, what is, I don't even know, like little negative Nelly like creeped up in the back of my head and was like, for what? Like, what is all this for? Like, this whole fashion world, this whole everything I've now gotten my foot into. It's like when you're watching it from the outside, it's like, oh my God, it's like insane. And then when you experience like the back end of it and you get to see it all, my brain kind of resorted back to like trying to rob me of my happiness of like, but what is it for? Like, what's for what? Like, you see, look how empty it is. Look how empty. Like, you see why everybody's doing what they're doing. It's like my brain was like fucking with me. And it made me like a little like weary the first night. Like, I noticed I was like, like I was disappointed a little because I was like, it's just like everything else. Like, it's a little empty. And when I noticed that, I was like, Leo, we're done with that. So I flipped into experiencing this fashion world because I'm in it. And sometimes there isn't like a greater reason or purpose or like, because I kept thinking like, is this it? And I'm not saying is this it with like the experience, because everything was like the top of the top. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better trip. Like, everything was so exquisite, bougie as hell. Like, everything was like to the nines. So when I'm saying is this it, I wasn't talking about anything to do with the trip. It was like the feeling states of like, is this it? Is this what this is like? And then it's the whole like, what is all this for? And I literally had to like yell at myself in my head. And I was like, Leo, you've learned this already. Not everything has to have a greater purpose or a for what or a reason why. It's just the experience. Go experience it. Like, to sit here and just walk into this fashion world and be like, is this it? You're sitting on the outside judging it. You haven't gone through with it yet. This was the first night. I'm like, asshole, you ain't even at the dinner yet. I was in the Uber on the way there. And my brain like just started doing this. And I had to check myself. And I was like, Leo, there isn't anything. The whole point of this is to experience it. Because like I said, you can go down both roads of like, this is so empty. These people are so out of touch. Like, all these rich ass people are prioritizing their life. And like, there's people that are starving. Like, your brain will kind of go through all of those like means of fucking with you in a way. Like, it will rob you of the experience if you don't get your brain in check. So I was just like, you know what? This is it. Like, this is what it is. It's to experience it. It's to get grounded in the experience. All the awareness, all the feeling states, I'm assuming aren't there because I'm just on the way and I'm like, okay, like my brain was thinking it knew everything. Like, you didn't know what the fuck you were doing, brain. Like, you have to go experience it. And as soon as I let go and just went into it and was like, there doesn't have to be a for what. There doesn't have to be a bigger reason behind this. It's just simply to experience this life. This is an aspect of life, the fashion world, that I've always been obsessed with and always wanted to experience. And as soon as I let go and just went into it, that is where I found all of the feeling states of why people do this and why it's so exciting and where the happiness actually is. Like, you just have to let go and go into it. And like I said, this is something you have to remind yourself of and keep a hold of. Like, this isn't just something that you flip one time. Like, you get the choice, like I said, going into every experience of being like a little negative Nelly or going into the experience simply for the experience. Stop wishing it was different. Stop assuming it's different and go into it like a blind baby, like at the new mountaintop. I've just walked onto this new mountain. What is life like now? And when I went into the experience like that, I had so much fun. Like, I literally had the best time. I got to just be in the moment. I wasn't in my head. I wasn't sad. I wasn't like overanalyzing anything. And I realized so much about life, the fashion world, PR, brands, like modeling, like there's so many things I learned because I just fucking let go. And it's like that is where the awareness is, and that's where your numbness will stop. Like your numbness is like, it stops at the gate of the new experience. If you just drop there having to be something bigger and judging it and assuming and like trying to use all your tactics you used before. Like I said, walk into it brand new, fresh. The point is to experience this. And as soon as you do that, all the new awareness, all this new shit's just gonna fly at you. And it's all things you can only get and knowledge you can only access by wholeheartedly grounding yourself and walking into the experience and experiencing it for what it is. Not judging it, not wishing it was different, not saying this is weird. Like, just do the damn thing. Walk into the experience, have it. Like, that's the point of this life. Like, it's weird because it makes no sense, but so much sense. Like, people are always like, there's no point. Like, what's the point? Babe, to have the damn experience is the point. Like, you don't have to get anything out of it. Like, you will get so much out of it is what I'm saying. But like, the intentional trying to get something out of things is not how it's going to happen once you've hit this new level of awareness. The point now is to just go live life and experience things and make the best of shit and go into it and just go into it with an attitude of curiosity. You don't know everything, and your awareness is constantly expanding. Your consciousness is constantly rising and leveling up. This is like the new level. Like that numbness I'm talking about, when people hit that wall, this is your next step. It's to just drop everything that got you to the level you're at to get to your next one. Those mindsets helped you. Now they're gonna hold you back and numb you the fuck out. Now it's to hop that, hurdle that, and get into the experience of life. I know it ain't fun to hear, but it's the damn truth. Like, it's the thing that I've found, and it was like the natural progression of things for me. But with this, I do want to talk about actually experiencing disappointment with things that you achieve or things that have happened and how to kind of deal with that. So I'm going to use my example with the 300,000 followers because I felt genuine, actual disappointment. I was heartbroken. I cried. And this is where you kind of got to check yourself. And the 3 questions I ask myself when I'm noticing that I actually am disappointed by something is, what feeling state did I think lived in what I've been trying to achieve or what I've just experienced? What did I think actually lived in that doesn't? Like, getting clear on what it is you thought was there that you're not able to access, that you thought you'd only be able to access with this certain thing, like a certain amount of money or a certain partner or a certain level in like prestige or a certain job. Like, what did you think was actually in that subconsciously? I just did an episode, it's episode 92, about subconscious expectations and how to check yourself on that. So if you want like more details on that, I'll link it in the description on YouTube, and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify has the audio version if you want to listen and not watch. But all the links will be in the description for that episode. So with asking yourself, what did I think lived here in this experience or in this thing that actually didn't? You got to ask yourself next, was that realistic to think that was in there? Like, you really got to be real with yourself. Like, when I hit 300,000 followers, I saw like social media and fame and like success online as life-changing for so many people. Like, I saw people make a shit ton of money. I saw people leveling their life up. Everybody seems so happy, and it's like opportunities just start happening to them. All these brands are working with them. They're getting like all this free shit. And when I hit 300,000 followers, none of that happened for me. Like, I have an old podcast episode, I forget which one it is, where I was just like, what the fuck is the point in the followers? Like, for what? Like, literally, what's the point? It's because I didn't know there's so much more that goes into the back end of gaining followers online and having things happen to you because of it. Like, there's a whole different business aspect and a whole business side of having management and getting brands to send you things and working with brands and getting brand deals. That's something that just doesn't just happen. Like, that takes so many moving parts and so many people to help you. Like, all the shit that I have now is like the works of me and so many other people. Like, it's unrealistic for me to look back and be like, oh, Leo, you hit 300K and thought things were just gonna like fly at you. No, girl, you have to go out and get them. You have to make these things happen. But that's something people don't talk about. So online, everybody just blows up and like all this shit starts happening for them. You have to make that happen. Like if you want to make money, you have to find a way to monetize your shit. You have to find brands to work with. You have to have contacts and connects at brands to get PR and free shit. It don't just show up. Like I promise, it doesn't just happen. Like just because you have followers, these brands are not like scouting you out. They do scout you out when you hit a certain level, but it's not less than 1 million. Like certain brands will reach out here and there, sure, but to get what I thought lived in having followers took a lot more than I was aware of at the time. So for me now, looking back at my lower mountain that I was on, I can see it was unrealistic as fuck for me to expect all these feeling states lived in here. Because I really was thinking I was going to have freedom from financial stress, freedom from so many things I was feeling. And then when I achieved the 300,000 followers, I still had all these feeling states. And I was like, these are supposed to go away. Like I'm still stressed about money. I'm not making fucking shit off this. Like, how do you do it? And it fully made the experience not fun. So like, that's where I'm saying that is a time to reflect when you experience real disappointment. So after I call myself out with whatever I was expecting, if it was realistic or not, then I ask myself, okay, because now I'm aware of all the things that I want to feel and certain things that I want to alleviate and not feel. What is the most direct way for me to achieve the feelings that I wanted to feel, that I thought lived in the experience I just had, but didn't? What is the more direct way I can get that feeling state? And also, what are direct ways I can go about alleviating certain feelings that I'm feeling? Like with making money on social media, I had to go down a route of directly meeting that need and achieving that feeling state of not having to worry about it. It took a shit ton of work, but I had to go directly for it. So this is like a big ticket for awareness when you have disappointment. But that's the most helpful thing you can do is ask yourself, like, what is a more direct way of getting to the feeling state I want or alleviating certain feeling states I don't want to have? I do want to acknowledge one more thing, because I'm done hooting and hollering at you like about all this. Like I feel like you get it. If you got all of this and like this helped you, leave me a comment down below if you're on YouTube and just like tell me, because I love reading you guys' comments and I want to know if me speaking at this level with certain perspectives and shit is like gonna be received. Because I don't know if I need to like bump it up or dumb it down. I feel like we're at a point where I'm ready to like bump it up. But I was smoking in Paris, and a lot of people have been like on my ass on social media about it. Girl, I wanted to smoke when I went to Paris. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like I literally told myself, yeah, I'm gonna smoke in Europe. Like whatever, let's go enjoy yourself. Like I knew I was gonna smoke again when I quit. And like I didn't swear it off forever. Like I'm like, I'll have a cigarette here and there because I just enjoy it. Am I gonna smoke daily? No. Did I smoke daily in Paris? Hell yeah. I went through like 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes. But I did share a lot with a lot of people. But I did just want to clear that up because a lot of people didn't see me give the warning of like, hey, I'm gonna be smoking in Paris. And then I smoked and everybody was like, what the fuck? And like freaked out. Like, girl, cool it. I was just enjoying myself. But now that I am back home, I'm back. I quit smoking again. Like I have the self-control to just get on and get off and like stop. Like it's weird because like I was talking about it on Snapchat. If you haven't added me on Snapchat, add me. It's LeoSkepi. But people were literally like trying to talk shit. I don't think it was people who actually followed me. I think it was just people who like knew of me and found my shit. Like I don't think like people who know me. But y'all know I'm very self-controlled and I've never met someone that's like more disciplined than me. And I don't say that to sound like an asshole, but like when I put my mind to something, it's done. Like consider it done because I'm gonna do it. But when people lack discipline and they lack self-control of their own, they can't conceptualize of someone else being able to enjoy themselves and then go back to setting limits. Like for me to stop smoking for, I think it was like a month and a half, 2 months, whatever it was, and then to smoke for 4 days and then quit again and not touch a cigarette and not smoke nicotine, they can't fathom what that is. You relapsed. It's like, bitch, it's not a relapse. I chose to fucking do it because I wanted to. Like I'm able to exhibit self-control like that and people like don't get it. Like when people don't have the same level of self-control, they can't conceptualize of like what you're doing. Like they think you're weak because they're weak. No, babe. I could fully get on and get off anything. I've quit some hard ass drugs before and I like have teetered with them back and forth and like done them for months straight and then got off just because I wanted to. This is in the past, but like I'm able to do that and people can't like fathom it. And I'm like, babe, I'm not gonna say it's not that hard, but it's not that hard. And it's not that complex. Like, you can just stop. And as soon as you get the control over yourself like that, the hell? Like, I don't see it as a big deal, but other people do. And I think that shows who's more disciplined. Not even disciplined, but like self-control. Like, bitch, you can't control yourself? Can't relate. But the other thing is, like, it's not like I was over here like, I want to smoke so bad, so I'm going to look for any excuse I can to smoke. It's like I wasn't making my decision to smoke based off of the feeling of wanting to smoke. I've already kicked that. Like, it was 2 months without it. Like, it was out of my routine. It's out of my habit. Like, I want to smoke here and there, but I didn't. And it's like the cravings wore off. Like, I was just like, you know what? I enjoy cigarettes. I'm going to go smoke while I'm in Paris. Whatever. Like, it's not like I was like lying to myself and convincing myself of like, ooh, I finally get an excuse. I'm the most convincing fuck. I could have convinced myself of 1,000 things to let myself feel like I can smoke without guilt before that. You know what I mean? But that's what I was saying. Like, people who don't get it just don't get it. But you get it. We get it. I do just want to say a big thank you to YSL Beauty. If anyone on their team is watching this, I loved all of you. We had so much fun. We were... I'm not going to give too many details, but we had a fucking blast. And we went for the launch of the Myself cologne with YSL Beauty. It's the black bottle. It smells so good. I wear it every day on my wrist. Like, I wear a certain cologne on my body, and then I'll do like 2 sprays on my wrist and rub it. Dude, like, they're not paying me to say anything about this. Like, I genuinely love it. And they sent it to me a couple months ago, and I tried it, and I was like, ugh. And then they sent me more, invited me on the trip, and I was like, hell yeah, like, of course. But I did come home with 8 bottles. Don't ask how, okay? And if you're on the team watching this, no, I didn't. All right, that's all I've got for this episode. If you enjoyed it, leave this video a thumbs up. And if you're listening to the audio version on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, leave this podcast a 5 stars rating. All 5. It better be all fucking 5. As always, all of my social media will be linked in the description below. Go look at my new pictures on Instagram. My little modeling pictures. My little pictures from the YSL events. I ate it up, and I just want y'all to see. And one thing I love is when you guys share my posts to your stories. Like, I go through and like every single person. That, like, it sends me notifications of, like, who mentioned me in their story and, like, shared my post, and I go through and like it. Like, it makes my heart so happy that y'all are, like, showing me off. I'm like, eh. But that's it. All of you, just know that I love you so much, and you are not sharing the weight of being super aware with just yourself. Like, I'm here with you. Everyone who listens to this podcast, we all share that. So don't ever feel alone in it. And I have a private Facebook community where you can go in and talk to everybody. It's free. I just made it so everybody can, like, go chat and, like, talk to people who all also get it. So I'll also link that in the description. But I'm going to shut up and I'm going to go. Everybody be safe. Take care of yourself. Go look at my pictures. Maybe, and then go eat something good or something. And I will talk to you guys next Sunday.